Okie dokie.
America is now 250 years old, and railroads did not disappoint with their paint schemes. Just like they did with the bicentennial, they made new schemes for the semi-quincentennial. All of these railroads have really good paint schemes, and it was pretty hard to rank all of them. I am ranking the major Class 1 railroads and passenger railroads based on how they did and how much I like the paint schemes. Before I start, please do not judge any of these as they are my opinion. If you have other opinions, please comment them down below. I'm ready to hear what you guys have to say. Other than that, my credit sheet got trashed, so if you would like me to credit you and my video hasn't credited you already, please DM me. Thank you.
Union Pacific, Union Pacific, Union Pacific. What in the living are we doing? This is probably the worst 250 scheme I have ever seen. The only reason it is so bad is because there is no paint. It is just the America 250 logo, barely visible. BNSF did better. You should be ashamed. I have no other words to say, but this unit looks like a normal Union Pacific unit. Good job, you stink. I can't believe I'm saying this. A federal corporation making horrible units for their own birthday. Amtrak on their ALC 42s and ACS 64s painted themselves in the America 250 schemes, or should I say, plastered a sticker on there. The horrible part about this is that there's just no personality to it. Yes, there's 3 different kinds: the USA Department of Transportation one, the Freedom 250 one, shown on screen as we speak, and just the normal USA 250. If I were to go in an order of which one's the worst to which one's the best, I would say the USA Department of Transportation's the worst, followed by the plain USA 250 logo, and then the Freedom 250 logo. The other thing about Amtrak is that they could have put so much more effort, but they just decided to plaster these things. I will get to a different Amtrak paint scheme later that's way better. However, we'll have to wait for that. On these units, Amtrak did an absolute horrible job. Not as bad as Union Pacific, but still horrible. Great job, Amtrak. You also stink.
Sunrail? Sunrail did something? Oh my god, Sunrail did something. I will be honest, this unit is pretty bad, but I'm happy that Sunrail actually put a little bit of effort into it.
Metra makes a bunch of heritage units. However, I felt like this one was a little bit disappointing. There were a couple aspects of it that I just didn't like the vibe of, and they could have done a little better. It looks good, but everything else is better. Could have been better. It really pains me to put this one so low on the list, even though they're so good. The 5 CPKC units, number 250, 704, 776, 7626, and 1776. These units are really cool and really good, yet I just have no way to believe that any unit is worse than this unit. All 16 of the next units are 100% better, even though CPKC did such a good job. I laugh every single time that I see a Canadian railroad do something for America that's better than the American railroads. CN made 2026, which looks pretty plain. It's the one leading in these videos. However, I think that it is a very good unit, even though it does look pretty simple. It takes the simplicity and makes it its own unique scheme with its own personality. I like how it separates the red and the blue with that gold stripe in the middle. Other than that, it's a good unit. All the other units are better. I would honestly call this one really underrated. However, I have to put it so low because it's not a paint scheme. It's a wrap. I know
it's the federal corporation and they did a horrible job with the other ones. This is a little better. I think it would have been cooler if they colored the entire train set and not just the power cars. It really makes me crazy to say that there are 5 more Norfolk Southern units better than this one. The only thing I don't like about it compared to the others is that it has that horse on the side. I just don't appeal to it at all. If I'm correct, this is the first of these major railroads to come out with a 250 scheme. New Jersey Transit did a really good job with their heritage unit. They made a train that just makes everything come together. The vibe is amazing, and I don't think there was anything better that New Jersey Transit could have done. Great job, New Jersey Transit. Oh my God. Long Island Railroad made a heritage scheme. Yes, it was for the America 250, just like all the other railroads. However, they actually did something. The only thing I really didn't like about this unit is how there were 2 America 250 logos on the front, not just one. It's a very big nitpick. However, I just had no appeal to that part. And I don't think anything Long Island Railroad could have done to make this better would work, because everything they did makes total sense, making it an absolutely perfect unit. Wow, CSX finally made a unit that was not 3/4 painted. I know they had done other ones, but 2026 has a perfect scheme. All the other units, like I said before, are better than this one. However, I think they could have done a better job with the American flag. The eagle doesn't look that realistic, which is a little saddening. However, I do like the touch they made. Other than that, it's a really good unit. Good job. I honestly have no touches for NS 8096. I would say to make the eagle look a little different, maybe make it look more realistic. However, the next one that I'm going to talk about has a realistic eagle. Time for the top 10. Picks get harder. Speak of the eagle, devil. This unit is really cool. The only difference that I would make to it is that top of the nose is blue. If they made that gray, I think it would be way better. Other than that, it's a great unit. I forgot to mention that I got one railroad that is not class 1 or passenger to put on here. I picked the Lake State Railroad. Its unit is so good, and I could not pass up on the opportunity. Although it's number 9, they still did such a good job for a class 2. Norfolk Southern 1776 used to be my favorite of all of these locomotives. However, it dropped down as more locomotives came out, and I grew fondness for different locomotives. This unit is still so good, and the bell is amazing, especially as a Philly sports fan. I love the bell. It is such a good unit. Good job. This will be by far my longest rant of the video. Metro North 250 is the most underrated unit of all of the 250 units. I know everyone hates on it because it looks so simple and they use the same exact paint as the front of most of their normal engines. However, I just see something in it that most people don't. For people that have not seen it in person up close, there are so many fine details that shape it way better than any other unit on any other railroad. I know it's only ranked number 7th, but it has to be there because there are better units. There is a whole monologue script on the side of the unit in the shape of an American flag. MTA did a phenomenal job, and I am so glad I got to see it in person. It feels crazy to still say that this is not the best NS unit. I know it looks so good, and the blue color is perfect, but there's a better one. Alright, I hope you all made it this far. We're now finally at the top 5. I will spend a little bit more time talking about these ones because they are so good. Thank you to all the people who have been watching this far so far, and I hope you guys can make it for the rest of the video. If not, just bookmark it and come back. I hope to see you again. So let's get to number 5. Owned by a railroad not in the United States once again. Wow, CN did such a good job. I know I ranked 2026 way earlier, it was such a good unit, but 1776 just struck me way differently. 1776 takes the whole eagle aspect and makes it streamlined. I like how the front uses gray and the American flag is on the back. Canadian National did such a good job, probably so the Canadians could top the Americans again. Based on history, you would expect BNSF to be worse than the Union Pacific. However, they took their roots from their bicentennial units and put them right on these semi-quincentennial units. BNSF did such a good job, and everything about it is perfect. I don't think I could ask for anything more from BNSF, especially because all of their heritage units are mainly just stickers. I'm glad they did this because they kind of needed to redeem themselves from those sticker units. I know this is a hot take and it's a very simple unit, but NS8118 is probably the best of all of them. I like the simplicity and how the colors are perfectly contrasted from red to white to blue. The most CSX thing that they could do was not make anything. And when I saw that 250 in 2026 came out, I was completely baffled. CSX did such a good job on these units. 250 was way better because it is a full American flag. I don't think I could have asked for anything more, and the CSX team did such a good job. Alright, we're finally getting to number 1. My list has consisted of all of these major railroads, so you may be able to expect which railroad I picked as the best, if there's one sore thumb sticking out. We'll get to that in a minute. But before that, I would like to ask that you like and subscribe once again, because this video took me a solid 7 hours to make. I really put a lot of hard work into it, and it's the most hard work I've ever put into any video, so I hope I can get your subscription. It really helps. We're trying to get to 2,000. Anyway, let's get into number 1. It may seem biased to put my railroad as number 1. However, MBTA was clearly the best one. I know there were so much better contenders. However, MBTA actually did something. They started making their heritage units back in 2025, and this one just popped. I love how they did the white and red stripes on the front, turn it into the American flag somewhat with the Boston and Maine print. MBTA, wow. Claps to you. Oh, it's over. Thanks so much for watching. I put so much work into this, like I said earlier, so please drop a like. I don't want to ask you to subscribe because I think I've said it like 20 times. Anyway, I'm gonna go delete some storage because this took up like 55 gigabytes. Alright, bye-bye.